Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer on the Jamaica Operating System, or as we'll be calling it, JOS. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Look, we're going to be breaking down what is really the definitive architectural guide to building operations that run on design, rather than just raw individual effort. If you're a focused learner, someone looking to figure out exactly how to stop managing constant chaos and start engineering actual stability, you are in the perfect place. We're going to establish the blueprint for a system that holds its ground whether you're in the building or not.
Here's our roadmap for today. It's 6 clear steps. We'll start with the structural leadership trap, map out the flow of demand, and explore the 3 dimensions of evaluation. Then we'll walk through the 7 stages of transformation, unpack the 9 diagnostic instruments, and finally, wrap it all up with building a self-sustaining system.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the structural leadership trap.
Okay, let's dive into this, because we have to start with a pretty agonizing reality that plagues almost every single industry out there. And that is, most operations are dangerously dependent on their leader's constant, uninterrupted presence. The creator of the JOS methodology actually realized this during a grueling night shift at a warehouse in Montreal. He was watching people calibrate their effort to the absolute minimum just because the system allowed it. The epiphany was crystal clear. Most operations run on individual effort, not design. Honestly, when a system degrades the literal second a leader gets distracted, that's not a talent failure. It is a fundamental structural failure. The architecture is just missing.
You've probably seen this contrast yourself, right? With the leader present, things work, problems are managed. But the moment the leader is absent, the system degrades, and chaos just scales. And let's be real. If scaling your operation simply means scaling your chaos, you haven't actually built a system. You've built a dependency. And that is exactly the massive pain point JOS is designed to cure. It's the ultimate architectural solution to get an organization to stop relying on heroic individuals and start relying on a rock-solid structure.
And this solution, it wasn't just cooked up in a vacuum on some consultant's whiteboard. No way. The Jamaica Operating System was forged over 25 years of hardcore field testing. It started back in the 1990s, directly on the gritty shop floors of manufacturing plants, scaled across multiple industries and supply chains in the 2000s, and was fully formalized in the 2020s. Every single principle we're talking about today was tested under totally real conditions, with real teams, in systems that were genuinely broken. It was literally built from the floor up.
Moving right along, let's look at Section 2, the flow of demand.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we approach the environment. To fix a system, you have to treat it like a living organism that needs to be methodically diagnosed. And notice this, safety is unconditionally evaluated first, no exceptions. If an operation doesn't protect its people, it absolutely won't protect its results. From there, we track the demand signal through 8 interconnected areas, starting at customer service, moving through material and operational planning, right on down to production, quality assurance, and finally logistics and delivery. Every single handoff there is a potential failure point where the signal can degrade.
Which brings us to Section 3, 3 dimensions of evaluation.
So how do we actually know if those 8 operational areas we just talked about are working? Well, we evaluate every single one across 3 specific dimensions: people and culture, processes and technology. Think about it. You can have fantastic people, but if they're fighting a broken process all day, the system fails. Or you can have top-tier technology, but if your culture lacks accountability, nobody's going to use it right. All 3 of these dimensions must be present for genuine stability. This exact criteria forms the rock-solid foundation of the Operational Stability Index, or OSI, which uses 120 observable checkpoints to score your system's real maturity.
All right, let's jump into Section 4, 7 stages of transformation.
Once we've diagnosed the disease, we have to rebuild the anatomy. I want you to look at this question and reflect pragmatically for a second. Where does your own operation currently sit in its life cycle? Most leaders out there, actually scratch that, almost all leaders, think they are totally ready to scale, when in reality, their core processes are still incredibly reactive. You absolutely have to be honest about your baseline before you can even think about moving forward.
So the crucial point is, there are exactly 7 sequential stages of transformation to build true structural independence. Not 6, not 8, 7. And you cannot skip a step. It's like a giant puzzle. If you try to install some high-level solution on a weak foundation, the whole system is eventually going to collapse under its own weight.
Let's walk through that sequence. First, you start with a system reality diagnosis. Next, you establish demand control. Once that is stable, you move on to planning stability. And then, material flow alignment.
From there, you build execution control, achieve true system flow integration, and only then, after all of that, do you hit stage 7, scale. Each stage acts as a foundation. It has to be fully stable before the next layer can hold any weight. I mean, trying to scale an operation that's still struggling at stage 3, that just amplifies the fragility. It's a recipe for disaster.
Next up, Section 5, the 9 diagnostic instruments.
And this brilliantly illustrates the specific, practical toolkit placed directly into the hands of the leader. To actually execute this massive transformation on the shop floor, you need the right gear. The JOS platform features 9 distinct tools. You can see the sheer breadth here, but also how manageable the sequence is. It takes you all the way from a quick 1 to 2 hour field assessment in Tool 1 right down to deeply evaluating culture and behavior in Tool 9. Every single tool answers one specific question at one very specific moment in time.
To make it even clearer, we can categorize these 9 tools into 4 distinct phases. Phase 1 is diagnose. That's where you establish your baseline using the quick assessment, the OSI, and the stage map. Phase 2 is stabilize, where you install governance rhythms and lock in those early wins. Phase 3 is scale, where you measure true output and verify if you're actually ready to scale. And finally, Phase 4 is institutionalize, where you confirm the culture has truly taken ownership. It proves that the system just continuously builds upon itself.
And finally, Section 6, building a self-sustaining system.
So the ultimate goal of all of this methodology is ensuring your system actually produces quantifiable results and does it without your constant intervention. To prove it works, we use the Demand System Index, or DSI. Now, this isn't just some average of how hard everyone's working. Oh no, it is one unforgiving, multiplicative number calculated every month. Because it's multiplicative, a single weak link in your flow literally pulls the entire index down. It reflects the true integrated output of the entire operation, forcing you to look at the cold, hard reality of your architecture, rather than just patting your team on the back for their effort.
Let's move to and see how this builds to our final, big question. Ask yourself right now, does your system run on design or does it run on you? Your ultimate job as a leader is to make yourself absolutely unnecessary to the daily functioning of your operation. By applying the architecture of the Jamaica Operating System, you can leave a lasting, institutionalized framework that outlasts your presence and continues to thrive long after you've moved on. That's a real legacy. Thanks for joining me on this one.